Geno's always on one.
He
Geno is always angry. He's one of my favorite personalities and coaches of all time.
He is a polarizing coach. People either like or love or hate him, which I love it.
And this is why I loved it. That's why I was consuming all this as content last night, because I love it. It's so good for the sport. This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not. Welcome to a Saturday edition of the Warner Brothers podcast. I'm Kyle, joined by my brother Keenan. It's the OG Warner Brothers podcast today. It's funny, if you guys knew what happened behind the scenes, because at one point this was going to be a 4-man show, then it turned to a 3-man show, and then as of a half hour ago, it turned into just me and Keenan, which is cool, which is great.
It's fine.
Keenan, how you doing?
I'm great. Though the Spurs lost, watched arguably one of the games of the year with two of the three best players in the world playing like two of the three best players in the world. So can't complain. And then we got a good game on right now that both of us are watching, UConn, Illinois, and we're going to be able to be treated with Arizona and Michigan, which are probably the two best teams in the country all year. So great day. And then we had some women's basketball last night that we'll definitely talk about here soon, too. That Geno making headlines, Dawn Staley there, the UConn Empire goes down, Texas, UCLA. It's been a really good last 48 hours of basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, as I say, probably too much on here. I don't follow these college sports, but I have been getting this nostalgia for the NCAA tournament when it comes around. I hate the whole conversation about NBA versus college, because to me it's not a conversation at all. But one thing I do love is the flow of the college tournament. I love you get that first weekend, it's fireworks, cool. You get the round of 32 that same weekend, more fireworks. You possibly get a Cinderella, and if not, you get a clear-cut view of the powerhouses. I don't want to say it's an actual snapshot, because if you did best of 5, maybe this would all look different.
Yeah.
But then I got to say, Kim, when I was watching the tournament, when I used to keep up with the tournament and all that, my favorite weekend would be Sweet 16, Elite 8, that Thursday through Sunday stretch. Yes. I used to love that stretch. Yes. I kind of think the Final Four is a little overrated, to be honest with you. Surprise, surprise. But that Sweet 16, Elite 8 stretch, that used to be one of my favorite weekends of the year, to be honest with you.
It's I'm not going to lie to you. It kind of compares to the NFL, where to me, divisional round is the best weekend of the entire play, because you have a lot of games, but you have the solidified, here are the 8 best teams usually in the league, or 8 of the 10 best teams in the league are duking it out to go get to the Final Four, per se. So you really have your own version of an NFL Elite 8. And I think that within those 4 games, you're getting a classic or a really, really good game. It seemed one every time. It just seems like every year you're going to get one of those games, and that's Sweet 16, Elite 8. You're going to get one of those every time. And when it gets to these final 2, I think because the anticipation's so high for it, it almost comes like it kind of doesn't deliver. The same way the Super Bowl doesn't always deliver, even though it's a marquee event. Of course, it's the Super Bowl. But last year, you get really good Super Bowls, but most of the time the Super Bowl is going to be pretty good game. Let's see what the product around it looks like. So,
yeah, I mean, I'll say again, we've been pretty blessed. I would say you specifically, you're a little younger than me, to where I think you've gotten mostly classic Super Bowls in your lifetime.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, at the Patriots are in it, it's going to be a classic Super Bowl. So they've happened to be in it 9 times. So 9 out of a third of my life, the Patriots have been in it. So really, other than the second Rams one, a third of my life, the Super Bowl has been a classic. So it works out.
Yeah, the 2020s have been hit or miss for Super Bowls. I'd say right in the middle, really. They've been slightly above average in the 2020s. But I mean, this looks like a good Final Four. UConn's going to win here by 9 against Illinois. College basketball isn't as star-studded as it once was. Of course, we have the draft. As you mentioned, Arizona and Michigan coming up. Before we get to NBA though, Keenan, I do want to talk about, it caught my eye, Keenan. I know you watch women's college basketball. And
Yes.
I usually, by this point, have at least caught a game, or I usually start watching around Elite Eight, Final Four, because as you've
Yep.
mentioned, there's a ton of blowouts in women's college tournament.
100%.
Um,
Listen, I
Actually,
love
real
women's
quick,
college
Keenan,
basketball, but man,
real quick
yeah,
before we go. I saw this morning. I don't know if you caught this. They want to expand to 76 teams for each tournament.
no, no.
That's and it's
The men's
and it's gonna
tournament would get
happen.
away. The men's tournament would get away with it more than the women's tournament. So the thing about women's college basketball that's so great is your top now 30 teams can compete. So like, and obviously like the UConns, the South Carolinas, those teams get on a different level, and you know it and you can see it. But your top 30 teams can compete. So like Notre Dame and Hannah Hidalgo, they were a 6th seed this year, but Hannah Hidalgo is so good that she can put up 31, 11, 10, and 7 against a extremely good Vandy team that was a 2 seed, and they can get a W.
Mm-hmm.
If we extend it to 76, these women, it's not even going to matter if like a Middle Tennessee State is going to go up against Texas. They're not going to score. Like it's just not worth it. Like, because the women's talent pool is, if the men's college pool is at 1,000 people who can play well, the women's is at like 300. So when that's just, it's just not even worth it. So that would be terrible for the women's. For the men's, I feel like it would just be kind of pointless.
Let
It's
me
just
correct
adding a
myself.
couple more games.
It looks like it's only men's. I don't have a
Well, I
complete
very
finalization
much
on
hope
that.
so. I don't think it should even happen anyways, because again, I
I
think you're
don't.
even getting too oversaturated. You have the NIT for just let them play over there. We don't need 10 extra teams technically, because obviously you have like the play-ins for the 11 seeds. We don't need the 10 extra teams. They're going to do nothing. It's going to help
Yeah,
out at all.
yeah. I mean, I saw. I mean, I don't. Again, I don't even watch. I don't even watch college basketball. But when I saw this, I was like, why? It's exactly what we've been talking about with the NBA as well as the NFL. All it is a money grab. They want
Yes.
more games so they can stack more games for television, for views that they will get. But at the end of the day, it's going to water down the tournament. They
Yes.
went from 64 to, I believe, 66. So that's adding to the play-in games.
68. But yeah.
68. And then so now 76, which is going to add more to the play-in games, which will then give essentially some of the higher seeds a bye. What is the point? What is
There's
the
no
point? And
point.
like you said, they have the NIT. I saw this year they actually have a newer version of the NIT. Like they have something completely separate from the NIT. So there's
That's
more and more
cool.
tournaments.
That's
68.
cool. Like,
I remember when they expanded to 68, I was still watching that and I was like, cool, I'm for it, you know? Anything past that is probably a little too much, even though it's a national tournament.
Yeah, and they're 11 seeds, so like they're playing 6 seeds. So like Texas had to play to fight to get in. They were one of the last 4 in. They fought, and then they got to the Sweet 16. It's not the Elite 8. It was one of those two. I think it may have been the Elite. I think it was Sweet 16. But anyways, Texas actually got out of weekend 1, and they played some good games. Like that's fine for that. But I don't think we need like more app states and things because schools and programs like that. If you weren't able to make it in and win your conference, you're not good enough to be within. I don't think we need to get you so you could maybe get out of weekend 1. Like it doesn't, and I understand that does a lot for a program because like obviously it's a huge win for some of these mid majors to get to a Sweet 16 berth. Like it brings eyes to you and everything. But overall, I just don't think it really does much. And I really want to quickly say while we're talking college, Dan Hurley is carving out an all-time resume. He is, I mean, he has lost 1 game in the last 4 years.
In tournament play.
In tournament play, that is, yeah. So like he went 6-0, then went 6-0, then went I think 1-1 because they lost to the eventual champs in Florida, but they played them close and only lost to them by ended up being really 2, but it was 5. And then they're now going to be playing for a national championship in 2 days. So I want to shout. I mean, Hurley is building. He's like second all time in win percentage, only behind Wooden in the tournament. If you've won at least 20 games, it's like, okay, goodness. This guy is carving himself out a Hall of Fame career quickly.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's impressive that he's been able to keep up and actually resurrect UConn as a national powerhouse. Of course, Jim Calhoun had them as a Big East powerhouse for a long time, and
Kevin Ollie came in and did a thing there with Shabazz.
He won, right? They won one with Kevin Ollie, right? And then
the
he was
Shabazz
ousted.
Napier year, for like 4 years after the Kemba year.
So I mean, they've always kept it going. I do. It's weird. I agree with you that I dislike the expansion, but I disagree with the fact that some of these mid majors that might miss out on the tournament by a point, they're probably like as good as the team that won their conference. You know what I mean? So like, it'll both make it deeper, but water it down. Like I think it'll be deeper, and I think there's even technically more chance for a Cinderella. But it's like, does it actually need to happen? Probably not. 76 is an insane number. So what's that mean? The tournament's now going to start on
normally it starts
Sunday?
on that. It starts on like technically it's like that Tuesday is like play-in Tuesday. It's selection Sunday. So like, is it going to be like selection Sunday, then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of games just to get to Thursday, just so they can add a couple days in? That's just a lot. And
or do we move
you're
up?
right.
We move up
And
the
you're
tournament?
right. The difference between the 68th and 70th best team in the country, like obviously it's not going to be much of a difference. But to me, again, as you're saying, as watered down, and the last thing we can say before we move on to this, it was the same thing as college football going out to 16 or 18 teams. Like, yes, those teams are very good teams. Like, don't get me wrong, they're top 25 teams, but it's not. I don't think it's going to make like a difference in the fact of, oh, now the 16 seed in the college football playoffs is now going to go to the finals. And the same thing with like, I don't think these last 4 in, which would now be like the last 8 or 12 in, are going to go and make it to an Elite 8 or a Final 4. They might get to weekend 2. So like, it's not going to really make a difference in the outcome of the year, in my opinion. So I just don't feel like it's like at all necessary. But as you were saying too, but you're right in the sense of the 70th best team could do exactly probably what the 68th best team could do. Just depends on the night.
Yeah, and we'll revert back to Geno. I don't even want to say
Speaking
Geno.
of
We'll
UConn.
revert back to South Carolina, UConn. And as I was saying, as I was leading in, saying you watch the women's tournament, I usually by now have tuned in to the women's tournament.
Yeah.
And I go on Twitter last night, and I'm looking, and I see Geno and Don Staley get into it, and I'm like, I love this. I was like, I need to see more of this. I gotta dive into this. And Keenan, between last night and this morning, I mean, that's probably the most content I consumed today was Geno Auriemma, Don Staley, the multiple angles of this handshake, non-handshake. I searched, I could not find online. I could not find the pregame introduction handshake that Geno was talking about, because we saw multiple angles of them shaking hands before the game. Like that was very clear cut. Geno said when they're doing the starting lineup introductions, when the coach is supposed to shake hands, that it didn't happen. I did see a Twitter user reply that they saw it on SportsCenter. That SportsCenter last night showed it, and I could not find this video anywhere. But so you've seen it, and it does exist.
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, he walked out. You could see him like in the middle of the court, and it just was him standing there. And obviously, Dawn didn't come up to him. So it was Dawn wasn't wrong in the sense of she literally went through and shook everybody's hand, because she did go through and shake everybody's hand. But that second thing that I guess Geno said, that he has been doing this for 41 years and been to 27 Final Fours, I want to say it was. And yeah, that hasn't happened to him. So, and then he came back and apologized and said my behavior was unacceptable. And I don't know, did you see his third quarter rant?
I did.
Yeah. So going into that third quarter, going to the fourth, Don's calling his refs whatever names that you wouldn't even repeat, and Sarah Strong's getting bodied and ripped, and then like her jersey's ripped. But there's video of Sarah Strong just afterwards ripping her jersey, and on the specific play that ended the end of the quarter, she really didn't get touched. It was it was fine. I wouldn't have called the foul. The same thing happened today in the Nuggets Spurs game, where Jokic went to the basket, two defenders around him, but he really didn't get touched. They didn't call it in the NBA game. It was fine. Stan Van Gundy was like, yeah, that's a good call. And it was a good call. They didn't call it on Sarah Strong. They didn't need to. So Geno was on one. And I think it had to do with probably them. He's been on one all tournament. Like, I don't know if you saw his press conference about the shooting and the schedule before. Like, he's been on one all tournament.
I did. Geno's always on one. Geno
He is
always angry. He's one of my favorite personalities and coaches of all time.
He is a polarizing coach. People either like or love or hate him, which I love it.
And this is why I loved it. Like, that's why I was consuming all this as content last night, because I love it. It's so good for the sport. Geno is clearly not going anywhere. And Don Staley is clearly, like, whenever Geno decides to hang it up or whatever, Don Staley's obviously going to be like what he is to UConn now and what Pat Summitt once was to Tennessee.
And Pat and Geno didn't like each other at all.
They apparently, I remember that being a big rivalry when I was a kid. They always faced off in the national championship game. And they apparently, like, I didn't know this till last night. They used to have an out of conference, because obviously they're not in the same conference. They used to play out of conference every year.
Yep.
And Pat took that off the schedule because her and Geno hated each other so much. I believe there's a 30 for 30 about this. And I'll have to look it up and watch it, because I would love to watch it. I want to say I've seen the end of it before. I believe there's some sort of documentary about this rivalry somewhere. I'm almost positive.
Because they brought it back. The matchup happened a few years. I mean, it happened this year. It happened last year, and I went to last year's game because it was in Knoxville. And so I watched Paige in that game, and that Tennessee crowd was rowdy and rambunctious, and the Volunteers ended up getting a win over UConn, which was actually, I think, UConn's last loss of the season. So their last loss came in that game, and then that's actually their last loss since last night. So like they had won since, I think it was like 54 in a row. But yeah, Candace Parker forever doesn't like Geno Auriemma because of the fact of Pat Summitt not liking Geno. She's talking about it on her podcast with the Leah Boston Post move. She was like, yeah, Pat Summitt does not like Geno, so therefore I do not like Geno, and I will never like Geno. So I'm actually really excited to see what she has to say on Wednesday about this, because like she's gonna have some words about it. I'm excited to hear what she says.
I think Geno also cut her from Team USA, like her last go around.
That I'm not 100% sure on, but like probably like there's a chance. There's a chance that's a thing.
I think that happened.
There's a chance that's a thing.
I could be wrong, and maybe it wasn't Geno, but that might have happened. You should look that up actually while we're talking about this, because I have some sort of memory of her getting cut from the Team USA roster before her final season, or her final season with Team USA. Again, I love it. Geno is just, I mean, I said a couple weeks ago how it's hard for me to love college sports because of these dominant coaches with loaded rosters. I have more respect for coaches who kind of like claw their way, or maybe don't have the best players and still have the same results regardless of talent. And you could very well say, Geno's guilty of that, but you could also say, hey, he continues to get the best out of these players to the point where they do dominate. Either way, as a personality, the fact that him and Don Staley, the two best coaches in the game, have beef, that's only going to further the rivalry for future seasons. They're both from Philly, so you have that layer too. I love it. Again,
she was left off of the 2016, from this article as SB Nation said, she was left off of the 2016 Olympic team. This is when she was like in her prime.
And Geno coached. Geno was head coach.
Because people believe that Geno kept her off the team simply because he doesn't like her, or his lies. Like, let's be. So there is a chance, like for this SB Nation article. I mean, obviously, I could dive into it more, and I might dive into it later. But via an article, there's smoke around the Geno kicked off Candace from the 2016 team. So
I thought that was a thing.
Crazy. I love it. This rivalry is what builds sports. Like, regardless, like everything can't be like, yay, it's just a celebration. The thing about the WNBA that people love so much is that these women seem to not love each other on the court. Like they fight, they play hard, they want to win, and they're not afraid to say like, no, I'm going to go at you. So I love it. I hope I'm going to continue to love it. These are the two powerhouses of the last decade in college basketball, women's college basketball. So,
well, in Geno's case, the last 3 decades.
Well, yeah, for Geno's case, it's gone back to the Lobo in I think '98. It's been going on for a while, but for South Carolina over the last since Asia was there, really is when that whole dynastic run started for them.
I saw someone say last night on Twitter, and who knows, it could have been a bot, but someone said Geno can't win the big one, and I was like, okay.
He has more natties than literally anybody ever. He has 12.
They said he's been shrinking lately as of like the last 6 years, and I was like, all right, like, yeah, okay. The stats maybe aren't great. He's losing the Final Four, but he's got a chip in there too. But
as I say, they won a chip in 16. Paige was injured one year. They lost to South Carolina in the Natty. They lost to Caitlin Clark on a call that I still think that Paige was hitting that bucket around, even though in that illegal screen. I mean, I could go through one. They're fine. I think he's done okay. He won 108 games in a row. I think he's done all right.
My 2 takeaways after consuming all this content, after seeing that dust up, and the third quarter sideline interview. That's what we want when we get these sideline interviews.
Yes.
99.9.9999% of the time you get these interviews, it's like, coach, what do you see here? We got to rebound a little more. Who the fuck cares? Geno actually brought the real and was like, hey, physical third quarter, we got 0 calls, like actually 0 too, like not even just bullshit. Like they got 0 calls in that third. Reason for him to be mad. He's like, we got 6 fouls. My girl's jersey got tugged. Nothing happened. That's bullshit. That's what we want to see out of these sideline interviews. We need more of that. Shout to Geno for keeping it real there.
And also, I want to shout out to Corey Chase, the coach of UCLA. She did kind of the same thing, not as like boisterous. Like after the third quarter, she was like, we're out here pretty much playing rugby. I feel bad for the fans because it's 31-28 right now. They're not getting a good product. Like we need we're going to go out there. We talked about this game before. It's going to grit and we're going to have to grind our way to a victory. But like, this is rugby out here. Like, what are we doing? She came out and called the refs out too. And so it was like one of those interviews too. It wasn't as like volatile, but it was one of those where she's like,
it was honest.
I was like, honest. Okay. Vic Schaefer gave one in the first, and that was more about his team being like, yeah, no, we've sucked. Don't know what this team's doing right now. We're kind of playing terrible like this. So the interviews were completely honest rather than, so we just need to rebound the ball. And we're going to do our best here to go stop the other team's best player. They're doing pretty well, but we'll do all right. So it's like, say what you feel. And they said what they felt last night. So I loved all of them.
Wish they would have mic'd me up when I was coaching junior high ball, or when I was coaching you in AAU, or interviewed me after a halftime. Wish they would have done that.
Oh man,
especially pertaining to refs.
Oh boy, there's a few times gotten pretty testy with a reference.
My favorite thing. It's my favorite thing as a player or coach was to just
the timeout. That's gonna be another. That can be a podcast, maybe a Patreon exclusive where we're talking about just stories, but the timeout. You called timeout for 6 seconds.
You mean the non-timeout call because we had an 85-year-old ref?
I've never had a crew. 7 seconds and they didn't call it.
Kean, not only was one of the refs 85 years old, and maybe I'm stretching here, and I'm not kidding here. He was probably at the youngest 73. This dude was past. He was in his 70s for sure.
Yeah.
That's already bad enough. The other ref was just as old. I've never in my life seen an officiating crew that old. And they said, hey, Kyle's got a game today that he's coaching and they want to win, and it's an important game. Let's put the oldest crew we possibly can so Kyle can scream at the end of the game for a timeout when it's a 1-possession game, only to get it when it's like 1 second left. And
like you called it with like 8, 7, 6, 5 timeout. You were screaming. Everybody in the building heard you except for 4 ears, and it was the 2 refs that could blow the whistle to stop the clock. The only 2 people who didn't hear you. Everyone else heard you. But
one other crazy part about that, and maybe I've told you the story, maybe I haven't. Then I'm coaching junior high, boys or girls, because I did both teams then. That fall, I think it was the following year. Who knows? Might have been even the same year. No, it was after this. It was at least after when that happened. Mm-hmm. And Dana Jacobs. I was actually coaching against him, and the same exact thing happened to him with younger refs. These refs weren't 75, 80 years old. And it wasn't a gym where you got 3 courts, so there's more going on. This was a small court, and literally the same exact situation happened where we made a bucket. He needed a timeout. It was like less than 10 seconds left in the game. He's screaming for a timeout. Same exact situation to a T, and they didn't give it to him till about like 2-3 seconds left, 7 seconds after he probably called it. And I'm like, man, I feel you. That happened exactly to me probably 6 to 8 months ago. So weird that it happened, because it happened in the same exact fashion. But bringing it all the way back, I said my two takeaways: Geno in the halftime or a third quarter interview. We need more of that.
Yep.
And then every time I see Dawn Staley, all I think of is we got to find a way to get her to the WNBA. They're like, Geno obviously was never going to leave. Dawn Staley is like in the fabric of the WNBA. She actually played in the WNBA. She's got to get there. She's got players that played under her that are doing prominent things. Obviously, Asia, on top of other players in the WNBA. Like, we got to get her in the WNBA. We have to.
She would be great. She would be great to be in the WNBA. Speaking of the WNBA, real quick before we move on to NBA stuff, I want to shout out to Toronto, the Tempo, and the Portland Fire. They had the expansion draft. Those teams actually look kind of solid, like from what you're going to get in expansion drafts. And last year, the Valkyries actually got to the playoffs from the expansion draft. So that's fun. Good. We've got a season. CBA is completely signed off on. Super excited. Game 1, we've got Paige versus Caitlin. So they're starting off right. They know what we need to start with. So that's good. Hopefully the other game is Aces Liberty. That would be an amazing start. And then last but not least, did you see that the Connecticut Sun got bought out?
I did, yeah. Well, we saw that they were going to move last year, and it was supposed to be to Boston, and now somehow that's going to be diverted to Houston, and they're bringing back the Comets. That kind of upset me a little bit, but
it upset me too, because I was like, a Boston WNBA team would be perfect, but I do think it'd be perfect, but also bringing it back to Houston's pretty dope. Like, that's gonna be the Houston crowds there too. So they're starting to expand in the right ways. They're gonna get a Philly team here soon, a Cleveland team here soon. Hopefully they can get a Boston, because if the WNBA can get to 22-ish teams, I think 22 at max 24, I think that would be a perfect number. They don't need 30. It doesn't need to get to that, but 22 to 24 teams, a 50-game season where every team pretty much plays each other twice, and then the people, maybe their 52-ish game season roughly within there, span throughout the entire summer. You've got a perfect WNBA in my world.
22 would be perfect. Yeah. 24 if that goes well. It's hard to believe that Houston ever lost their team, given that they won
Portland. 4. The Portland Fire was the first thing for too. So.
Really, I don't even remember Portland having a team.
I think the Portland Fire was I think they were a team like early on, but yeah.
But Houston was like the first dynasty. I think they won 4 rings in 5 years or something like that. So It's shocking that they ever went away. Boston needs a team. I mean, they sold out TD last summer. Or was it last summer or the year before? Either way, they sold it out.
Last summer.
The Connecticut Sun,
they weren't good. Like, they had some young players, but they were like one of the worst teams in the league.
This was the year they had Dejanay, and they were good. They were
so that's 2 years ago. They're 2 years ago, because they had Dejanay, they had Alyssa Thomas, DeWanna Bonner, and a few others on that team. And now that team was tough. Yeah, before they said we're on complete overhaul mode, and that's what they did last year.
If you got a team in New York, you got a team in Philly, you got to have a team in Boston. Like, there's no reason to not have it. And the crowd would bring it every game. That'd probably be the best home crowd you got in the entire league, to be honest with you.
I don't know. That Indiana crowd gets rocking.
That's true.
I need to go to a Fever game this year in Indiana, because that crowd gets nuts.
Before we go on, I just want to ask you, I don't know if you have the volume on, who the fuck is this guy who's dressed like James Naismith on the set right here? Next to Magic Johnson.
For some reason, this is a huge deja vu moment for me. I have absolutely...
He's dressed like James Naismith.
Pause for a second. Sam and I, so his name is Sam, and I guess he does like commercials or something from the 5 seconds I listened to that. I have no
It was
idea who this.
probably like a social media guy or some shit.
Yeah, I have no idea who this
Huh.
is at
Okay.
all.
Okay. Uh,
But
can let's move to NBA. Let's
yep.
do Nuggets Spurs because that was a classic game
Whew.
that happened today. Did you watch the whole entire game?
Yeah. I watched 90% of it. The other 10% was me trying to figure out how to not work at work today and watch the game. So there was in between things that I had to do. But yeah, I watched the majority of this game, and then the entire second half I watched. So what a game. I mean, Wemby 34-18, 7 and 5. Jokic 48 and 13. Jamal Murray 15 and 10, Castle 27-9. Like this is a series that we all need. And as a Spurs guy, there's a series that I'm scared of because yikes. But as a basketball fan, we need 2 weeks of this. We need 2 weeks and the winner plays the Thunder. Like that's what this should be. The winner of this series plays the Thunder, because we can quickly mention obviously Luka's out for the remainder of the regular season. He's out indefinitely, so I can't imagine he's coming back. And Austin Reeves, barring the Lakers getting to the Western Conference Finals, is out for the year.
I
He's
think he
out
would at
40.
least.
He
It
said
says
they said
4 to 6
4 to
weeks.
6 weeks. So I
That would be about the
mean,
semis.
so that'd be I guess that would be the semis. I mean, depends if it's the 4 or the 6 weeks.
Mhm.
So I mean, because if it's the 4 weeks, then he could come back second round. If it's the 6 weeks, then he'd be coming back conference finals time. But again, I don't know how they get out of the first round if they have a Luka coming off an injury and LeBron with no Reeves against a Timberwolves team. That would be very tough, because they probably fall down to the 4 and they probably see the Timberwolves in the 4-5 or Houston. I don't think that they're getting by either one of them in that situation. But we've seen crazier things than if Luka actually does come back. So maybe, but their chances pretty much just went out the window.
You got more Nuggets Spurs or
No,
you
sorry,
going
but
with
sorry, that went on. I wasn't sure if you wanted to say anything else, but yeah, no, this
I
Nuggets.
got more on the Lakers, but I'm saving it for like
Yeah,
after
okay. I wasn't sure if you had anything to add there, but yeah, Nuggets Spurs, one of the games of the year. It's in the mind game of the year, but there are some other games early that I'm probably not thinking about at the moment. Thunder Spurs first one was really good. The Thunder Nuggets from a few weeks back when Shea hit the game winner, that was a super good game as well. We had a lot of good games, but one of the best games of the year. The one thing it kind of showed was the Spurs, the thing that could end them in the playoffs is the fact of when things get tight, they don't have that go-to thing yet. With the Nuggets, it's every possession can be a good one because it's a Jamal Murray and Jokic 2-man game. Whoever's setting an inverted pick and roll, a pick and roll regularly, a pop off of it, Murray can get his shot off, Jokic can get his shot, and if you have to collapse on him, that's where other people shoot. For the Spurs, you would think it was going to be a Fox and Wemby pick and roll and kind of work from there. They didn't really use it. I think that a Castle and Wemby pick and roll probably would be the best, but the thing is, Murray's a really consistent shooter. Castle's a streaky shooter. So if Castle's shooting well, then that's very good, and that's why he'd probably use Fox. But they need to find that one thing, because if they can find that, they'll be as live as anybody. If they can't, that might hinder them from getting to the finals this year. But other than that, this game was everything you could ask for as a basketball fan.
Yeah, the Spurs are going to be the scariest, I don't want to say worst to first, but, non-playoff team to playoff team in quite a while,
Yeah.
especially because obviously you got the alien over there. But I really didn't want to come away from this game with like, okay, this is why X team is or is not going to win. I don't really want to do that, but it did highlight some things like teams are clearly going to be physical with Wemby.
Yep.
Denver was very physical with him today. Love that the refs let them play too. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
you'll see that during
Both
playoffs.
sides.
My concerns why the Spurs won't be able to make it 4 straight rounds in a loaded West I mean, you kind of saw it today. You just said it, like with the whole go-to guy thing. Sure, that will be a thing probably, but I'm less worried about it because I think Fox will be a lot more involved. And I think Castle's just such a dog, he'll figure it out. You know, it's
Mhm.
more spot up shooting I'm really worried about with Castle. So my worries would be, can Wemby withstand 4 straight weeks getting
Mhm.
bodied around like that? Can you get consistent shooting against these good defensive teams? Which is funny because they're probably them or the Thunder for best defensive team in the league, depending on the day. Like they can guard the three
Yeah.
very well. So they
Yeah.
can almost negate their subpar
Mhm.
shooting. I won't say bad shooting, but they're, anywhere from
Mhm.
average to below average on a given night. They can kind of supplant that with their defense on the other end. Um, so between the physicality, between the poor shooting or less than shooting, them
Mhm.
just being young, there's an ebb and flow to the playoffs that I would worry about with them if you're a Spurs fan. Um, but again, it might not even matter because if you add 10 minutes to Wemby's minutes, what does that look like? He
He played
gets
40 today and he's 34, 18, and 7 against against a
exactly,
real team,
exactly.
not the Chicago Bulls or the Warriors when they don't have anybody. A real team is 34, 18, 7, and 5.
He had the quickest double double in history the other night in 8 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and it'll only better him. He'll obviously come back stronger each year. He's not even into his man body yet, which is
Mm,
frightening
scary
for
enough.
everybody in the league.
Yeah.
Um, and on the Nugget side of things, like if Aaron Gordon can stay healthy for them, they're going to be able to beat anybody. He raises their defensive floor so much. He does the little things. And of course, I
Yes.
mean, as we saw last year, he's become a knockdown shooter or even a go
Yes.
to scorer at times. So he just raises their ceiling, their floor, everything he raises for them. Uh, their bench is obviously deeper. They can withstand
Mhm.
more. Jokic is Jokic. He's playing
Jokic.
at an unbelievably high level. And Jamal Murray's playing the best basketball of his career. So just there, I give him the edge. Funny story about this game, Keenan.
Mhm.
I've been around sick people this week quite a bit between work and family. I've been around sick people. Started getting sick last night. Feel less sick today. Like I actually feel better, but I still have that super tired feeling today. And I'm
Mhm.
like, man, I could just skip work today. Like it's Saturday. I could just call out and watch this game that I really want to watch. And you know what? I decided to go in about 2 o'clock. And I'm like, all right, I'm clearly not going to be able to watch this game, especially if I'm driving a lot. And I'm not going to the gym today. But I'm like, I'm going to make a point to at least try to watch the third quarter or at least the fourth quarter.
Mhm.
And I stopped to get something to eat around the time it was probably like the 6, 7 minute mark for the Nuggets. And maybe I should just stayed parked, but I get on the road and it's like 4 minutes and I'm like, 4 minutes left. Perfect. Like I've been keeping an eye on the score and the stats and all that. Like it's been a close game all the way through. At this point, it's been like most of the time when I checked in, the Nuggets were down 9. And at this point, it was like a 2 possession game or 1 possession game with 4 minutes left. I'm like,
Yeah.
perfect. I'm in. Of course, I see Wemby's numbers and Jokic numbers, blah, blah, blah. So I'm driving and I'm watching the game. What happens? I get pulled over. Um,
Oh.
sir, sir, we see you're swerving a little bit. I have no idea why. What do you mean I'm swerving? I'm not swerving. What are you talking about? By the way, they were exaggerating a little bit. They said I went over the white line. I was like, okay, if I went over the white line on the right, I would feel the ridges. Like I was not
Mm.
like maybe I'm going a little herky jerky, but I was not swerving like that. No ticket. Pull over at the next exit to watch the game. There's about 2 minutes left now, maybe even 1 minute, and I catch the back and forth that causes overtime, and then I watch all of OT. Gave me enough to feel the game, feel the energy from the home crowd, from the
Yeah.
commentator. So I got the gist of the game, got to see the physicality. Um, I loved it, and I agree with you. Like that's the matchup I think all year I've wanted to see. Like once I thought the Spurs were going to be a playoff team, I'm like, yeah, because every time these two centers, Wemby and Jokic, have faced each other last year, whatever, you get these performances from them. Like these numbers are
Yeah.
kind of regular for Jokic, but
2
man,
years
Wemby,
ago 2 years ago, Wemby had that insane game where they were the only one 22 games that actually knocked the Nuggets out of being a higher seed, which now landed them a tougher matchup, which actually kind of hurt them in the playoffs. It was like
Mhm.
so they these are two guys who every time they see like one another across, it's like, okay, Wemby will vocalize it. Jokic probably won't, but Jokic probably thinks to himself, like, this guy's better than me. Is he? Like, okay. And
Jokic
they,
dunked on Wemby last year. Wemby was
yeah.
blocking
And then,
shots so much, Jokic
oh,
dunked on him.
and he had just a nasty one-legged fade over Wemby. It was like, oh my
Unreal
God.
shot.
Well, you're like, you're
Unreal
not
shot.
doing you can't do anything with that. So like, seven games of this series in over 2 weeks would feed some families. This would be a really good, very, very good series. Feed some families.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. I mean, we're so close. We're,
Yes.
weekend after next, we're getting the play in and the playoffs, and I can't wait. I can't fucking wait. Can you mention the Lakers? I want to talk about them as well as another team out of the Eastern Conference, but right now we'll talk about the Lakers. As you alluded to, Austin Reeves went out today with an oblique. That came out of nowhere. Luka goes down with a hamstring the other night.
Mm-hmm.
I feel personally responsible because every time we've talked about the playoffs, we've said, hey, right now it's pretty healthy, like knock on wood. And we made it all the way until 2 weeks before the playoffs. And then Luka gets seriously hurt. Like, that's an injury. Even if he does come back, he's not going to be 100%. No, he's not explosive, but you still need explosion.
Same hammy from earlier this year too, I believe. So it's
and I think he heard it last year as well. Before the trade. Who the fuck is this performing, Keenan? Who the fuck is this?
I know they said Charlie Puth was coming on, but that's not Charlie Puth. I have no idea.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, I saw Charlie Puth. They promoted him on Amazon earlier. Like he was performing after the Amazon game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Amazon. That's what I was thinking. This is the Chainsmokers.
Bullshit up. Is it?
It's Chainsmokers, yeah.
It's the Chainsmokers.
So baby, pull me closer in the backseat of your yes, the Chainsmokers.
I'll excuse it because it's the NCAA and it's like they're not gonna know who the fuck is good, but like the Chainsmokers in 2026.
This song came out in maybe 18. The song they're singing, like it came.
And that's actually the song they're performing. I just turned it.
Yes,
wow,
yes.
Wow, that's unreal.
Yeah, no, I'd listen in for half a second. That's the song they're performing, so that's how I knew it was the Chainsmokers. Yeah.
Wow. That just really brought back memories of one night. I forget it. I think it was an All-Star Saturday night, Keenan. And what was my man's name? He had a double first name, and he was booked for the NBA between like.
Was it Philip Phillips?
Yeah, it was. How you remember that? I don't know, but I just remember like reading an article where like someone was like, Philip Phillips performed, and they're like exactly 0 NBA players paid attention to him during his performance. And I'm like, yeah, why the fuck would they book Philip Phillips for an NBA All-Star weekend?
Like Ariana Grande doesn't work, but like it works
because it makes way more sense than
because it's just a big name. Like no one needs to hear Philip Phillips sing Home. No, you're not alone. We're gonna make this place. Like no one needs to know that. I'm probably one of the select 3% of basketball fans that knows that offhand. No one needs to listen to.
I can't believe you remember that. I remembered he at least had 2 first names. I was thinking Hunter or Hunter Hunters. I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
Philip Phillips. Like, but there's no one that needs to. Why are we playing? Why? Just stick even with like the Post Malones and all of that. Like that's at least names that maybe circles in the NBA listen to. But like, I'm pretty sure LeBron's not going home playing "Settle Down, it'll all be clear." Like, I'm pretty sure LeBron's not worried about that. Sorry.
Yeah, less than 3% of NBA players listen to that for sure too. Back to the Lakers, just to sum it up, man. Like I was just telling you before we got on, like I was gonna do tiers. Yep. I was gonna do tiers 2 weeks ago. I was gonna update them, and I was like, "It's the point. It's close enough to the end of the year where I'm really like, unless injury happens, of course, right?"
Yeah.
And one of the teams that was gonna move up in my eye was the Los Angeles Lakers. I was actually starting to believe in them. LeBron had like actually accepted this number 3 role and was playing like this advanced version of Draymond Green for the Los Angeles Lakers. And I loved what I was seeing from LA. And I loved what I was seeing from Luka. And then Luka goes down the other night and you're like, okay, That's not great. He probably comes back in the first round at some point, and maybe they can get out of the first round.
Yeah.
Now you got this oblique injury for Austin Reeves. So you're going to have LeBron for sure by himself for most, if not all of that first round. Yeah, it's not happening. It's not happening.
If LeBron's going to have to say, 2018 Bron, can you come back for a week? 2018 Bron could get that past the first round. I'm positive of that. But this 2026 version of Bron, I don't know if he can do it. I don't think he's got it. I don't think he's got a 7-game war in him against Ant or against KD in that squad, those squads. I just don't think he's got it.
That's a very physical team. It would have been, they would have had a shot with LeBron and Austin Reeves against Houston. It probably would have went 6 or 7, but
100%.
Yeah, Houston should be able to get by him. It sucks. I mean, no one's crying for the Lakers because, I mean, they're kind of like national media's team, or ESPN's at least. I can't speak for Fox, but ESPN obviously overdoes it with LA. So no one's crying for them, but I was very much looking forward to seeing what LA could actually do. Because they got waxed by Minnesota last year, but it was like a very competitive 4-game sweep. And it looked like maybe, like you said, that could be a matchup. And you're like, oh, who knows? Like, Lakers can't really play defense the way you would think a contender could, but they were actually starting to like get dirty enough and do the little things enough.
Yep.
And of course, score the ball like that. They can do with anybody. So you could at least start to see the vision. And, within 3 nights, that all goes away.
I would love, so right now, because of those injuries, and I don't think the Lakers are going to come back, I need Nuggets, Spurs, which we're looking like we're going to get. And
Nuggets,
then I need
Spurs, Thunder.
And then Timberwolves, Thunder.
Yeah.
Because I'm the shout out to the Rockets. You guys are cool and all. And if you play the Thunder, cool. But I think that could be Thunder in 5. But the Timberwolves, I actually think, not that they would beat the Thunder, but I think that they could make it interesting. They have the physicality defensively. They've got a little bit of depth too, as well. As long as Ant's 100% healthy, which he should be fine, but that's the if right now, but he should be fine. And if that's the case, I mean, they've seen him before in the playoffs too. So it's not like it's a foreign matchup. I think the Timberwolves could give him a problem, could give him a run for them. I think I would still favor the Thunder, but I think the Timberwolves can make that a 6-game series at least.
Knock on wood again. They are at the moment completely healthy.
Mm-hmm.
They said they traded Cat so they could compete with the Oklahoma City Thunder, right?
Yep.
They made that Rudy trade so they can compete with the Nuggets, then flipped it literally the next year, traded Towns, and said they wanted to match up with the Thunder. And they've got a slightly better roster now with Ayo, with Dosunmu there. So you got a little more scoring depth. You fix your point guard problem. You've got as much playoff pedigree as anybody, being to the conference finals the last 2 years. But they ain't afraid of anybody. Ant can go bar for bar with SGA, so that would be a fantastic matchup.
And Randall can go back and forth with J-Dub or Chet if you get the right mindset Randall. Like nights and like not maybe consistently always, but like on a given night, Julius Randle can match your second best player. He's capable, especially at times. We'll see.
Yeah, so give me the rundown right now. What's the 1 through 8?
As of matchups, as of today, we've got the Thunder as the 1 seed. They play the winner. They play the winner of Portland and Phoenix. So let's just call it at the 7. Let's say Phoenix. Let's say Phoenix. The Clippers beat the Warriors. Sorry, Steph. I know you're coming back, but the Clippers beat the Warriors. The Clippers beat the Blazers. Just for the sake of this, I think that they're more likely to. And so then we've got a 2-7 matchup of Clippers Spurs. Or sorry, the 2-7 matchup of Phoenix and the Spurs. A 1-8 of Clippers Thunder. And then as of right this second, a 4-5 matchup of Rockets and Nuggets, and a 3-6 matchup of Lakers and Timberwolves.
So our best outcome is for it to stay the way it is right now. So that way we get Nuggets, Rockets, and then that way we would get Timberwolves. So that's our best outcome.
Because if it switches right now, that means we're going to get a 3-6 matchup, most likely, because the Rockets are 2 games ahead of the Timberwolves. So most likely, if it flips, that means we're going to get a 3-6 matchup of Nuggets, Timberwolves, and then a 4-5 matchup of Lakers, Rockets. Which for Lakers fans, that's the hope.
That's the
The
hope.
hope is you move that. So it's not the. It's still, obviously, I'm not saying it's good that they got injured, but like they move down to the 4. The Rockets stay at the 5. You get hopefully Luka back for that series. LeBron
Your
and
abs
Luka can beat
your
the
absolute hope
Rockets.
would be like LeBron getting it to a game 4 or 5 by himself and then being able to insert Luka late
Being able to like
because
insert
you
Luka, like make it a 2-2 series, get to that, and then Austin Reeves, you trickle him in the second round against the Thunder and say, pray to, pray to the Lord Jesus that you can be figured out. Because what I
because
just
weirdly
saw 3 nights ago, yikes.
because weirdly the oblique, it's like a shitty injury, obviously, like, being up here and but you can actually come
Mm,
back from it. We've seen multiple players. We just saw
yeah.
Sam Darnold play through it in
Yeah.
the NFL postseason. But we've seen multiple NBA players come back and it not be nagging. The hamstring, bro, like
That's
Luka's
one
not going to be
wrong.
100%.
It's one
Even if
wrong
Luka
move.
waited till the second round, he probably wouldn't be 100%.
Yeah.
So
I mean, remember
it
how
just sucks.
lame
I actually,
Harden's leg was when he had that in the playoffs about
right
8 years ago with the Nets? I
with the
mean,
net.
if you have a decent Harden in that series, the Nets might have gotten a championship that year. But obviously, because Durant was playing out of this world in that playoffs. But heck,
It's it's crazy, and you know what? It adds a wrinkle effect to the LeBron sweepstakes this summer because I would have said 3 months ago, I would have said last month that LeBron's probably out of LA. And then now it looks like he's just completely bought into this role. And you say, okay, maybe he's coming
mm-hmm.
back. And then now you don't know. Now you don't know. And now the Lakers are just one of those teams where you're like, hey, if we're healthy, we could have done X, Y, and Z. And then fans will argue over it. But
Yeah,
I don't know. It sucks. It sucks. And I hope we don't get more injuries. And again, I hope the standings stay as is. And not for nothing, I think the Clippers can put the fear of God in either one of the Spurs or the Thunder in the first round. I'm not saying they would win, but I think they could definitely
I
get it
think
to 6 games or at
I
least
think the Suns for the Spurs, it's been a tough matchup for them. They've played the Spurs real tight every game. I mean, Wemby had to have the game winner to beat the Suns earlier. They played them to a 4-point game, and now I think the Suns were the Spurs' first loss of the season, like way early in the season. So the Sun, that's not going to be a super easy series there. You've got Devin Booker,
they're
you've
well
got
coached.
obvious Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks should be back by then. They've got depth. They all care to be there. They've played very tenaciously as much as they can defensively, so that whoever gets the Suns too, that first round's not going to be a breeze for either 1 or 2 seed. Should they get through it? Could they get through it in 5? Of course, but like it shouldn't be a breeze. It'll still be a tougher series compared to like last year when the Thunder played the Grizzlies, and that was just won the game by, I felt like 60. Whatever that score was, they were up like 60 on the Grizzlies at one point. They're like, what is this?
Let me say this. Don't let anybody, either one of these teams, don't let the Clippers get 2-1 on you. Don't let the Clippers get up 2-1 on you. Kawhi is worthy of first team All NBA. We're not even get to that. We can talk about this game maybe when we do our awards, but this whole 65 game thing, I know we applauded it when it happened, but it really ended up being pretty fucking stupid. There
Yeah,
needs to be
because
more
like
qualifications to it because what
Luca,
now?
like Luca's technically not going to get it. I know they're having an appeal, and I hope the appeal goes because literally he was 20 minutes of gameplay away from being eligible for it. So I hope that they can appeal because like all he would have had to do is play one more game and play 20 minutes in said game. So like if the
Oh
Lakers
my
don't care about
goodness.
losing, maybe they just put him out in the court and be like a corner specialist for 20 minutes. And it's like, hey, you get your awards. We don't even care. But obviously, I'm talking a little tongue in cheek. But yeah, no, like Luca, I hope can get first team All NBA again and all that because like he deserves it. And him not
Well, it's
playing this
Luca,
last one.
Cade, and a couple other guys, right? There's a couple other guys who are now
Luca,
not going to be
Cade,
eligible.
Wemby can't miss another game. Jokic can't miss 2. I mean, it's only 4 games left, so like they should be fine. But per se, they were out with video games. They had to play video games. I don't like to say any injury, obviously. Like say they just were out randomly for like a game or 2. Like they would not be, but that'd
Well,
be
like
3 of your 4
you're t-
MVP favorites.
that's the thing about it, though. You're telling me if like Wemby lands on someone's foot, twisted ankle, and they're like, okay, we're going to keep him out. He'll play round 1. Now
He was
the
just out with
first
left ankle soreness, like, just because
right?
they're just being smart.
So you're telling me the best defensive player in the league now will not win defensive player of the year because he played 63 games instead of 65? Like, come on. What are we doing? Um,
Yeah, it was we loved it before because it gave more incentive for people not to sit
load
to
management.
tank load manage. And load management this year, though it's happened at times, it has been better. Like it hasn't been like as big of a factor to me at least. There's been times where you're like, okay, cool, but for the most part, you've gotten a lot of these big games with most of the stars playing. So, but yeah, no, they need to alter it so it's a little different. And if I was Adam Silver, I might have even done it on the fly. Like I would have done it already. Just because like I know one's going to be upset and there's not a singular player out there that's gonna be like, oh my god, you're kidding me. He changed this now. I thought I was gonna get that. Like, no. Like Cade would be happy, Luca would be happy. The players who would be happy are the players that it matters to. And if you're a players league, that's what you would need to do. I would have done it on the fly and figure out something.
It's ridiculous, man. I mean, I don't want to complain because we've done that more lately than ever, but with reason because the regular season's still not a great product. And they have this stretch where it's like really good from the opening tip till, the what do you call it, the in-season tournament until the
Yep.
final. So then
Yep.
you're going from mid-December pretty much till the All-Star game, which is exactly 2 months basically,
Mm-hmm.
where things do go well. Like I think a lot of players do play the games during that time, but it
Yeah.
really doesn't matter. I mean, look, the Lakers just became a contender before these injuries, probably March 15th, right? Like,
Yeah,
so I
because I
mean,
mean, right at the end of February, because they had like a 15-2 March. It was really like during that March period where LeBron changed his mindset. Luca obviously had 38 points a game. He had 600 total points, and then Austin was good. So yeah,
when you've got it to where your average fan doesn't have to tune in until essentially tournament time in the NCAA, that's not a good product. It's not a good product.
no,
Then you got the MLB like with real momentum right now because they made changes that geared towards the fans,
mm-hmm.
not towards the league itself necessarily, or not towards, the players and coaches themselves, more towards the viewing audience. Like
Yeah,
this, I love this whole challenge rule here. It's pretty entertaining to
the
watch
ABS
even on
system.
social
Yeah,
media.
I know
Yeah.
it's funny. Um, and that also brings up like an argument for me where I'm weirdly old school in this part. I'm glad that it's getting like it's right, but I'm also like I kind of like the imperfect. I don't know. I just like
I
it's,
don't mind the
it's
imperfect, but I love the fact that you can instantly challenge an ump. You're instantly getting like it's like that. You're getting the review, you're getting it in, and then the crowd gets into it. Like it's been
yeah.
really cool to watch because imagine that in the fucking NBA if you could
And
just like
and baseball's the sport you can do it the best in because there's weight in between every play anyway. So like in basketball, it sucks because basketball is such a game of flow. So you're shot here, break here, defense. And so like when you stop that flow for 4 minutes, it doesn't just hurt like just the viewing audience. The players are in a rhythm and then you just stop. You're just sitting there. In the NFL, you kind of like you get into a flow and you kind of like you can get there, but also the NFL has a soft baseball. Obviously, it's between every pitch. It's the cleats, it's the bats. You're doing this, you do so you
you get the
have
pitch
time.
clock too. You got the pitch clock now.
Yeah, you have the pitch clock, so which is good. So like these things, you're speeding it up. You're speeding up the game because the MLB understood like, wait, this sometimes can be a little bit of a tough product to consume for 162. And obviously, if we're going to have them play 162, we don't want fans to just be like no fans at the games. Even though some games you still have no fans at because there comes a point where it's like, okay, we can just catch the next one. Like the same team. There's not like that. Oh, you've got LeBron James heading to Charlotte one time a year, so everybody has to go to Charlotte to see LeBron. It's the Braves are in town. Won't see him on Tuesday. I'll just catch him on Thursday. Oh, they'll be in town, and they'll be in
fine.
town again. It'll be in town again in a month and a half. We'll catch them then. So like, there's no urgency to actually like see, other than like a maybe, oh, Shohei is on the mound specifically here. Let's go watch that. So like you have your select few moments.
I think I'm gonna hit a baseball game this year. Just
Yeah,
try out some ballpark food and watch a game. I haven't been to
I
a
th-
baseball game in probably 20 years.
I want to say a Royals, like last year, Royals tickets were like $5 or something like that. They were so cheap. There was like you were paying more for parking than the ticket for the game. It was so cheap.
Hell
And
yeah.
so with since Nick Wright's from Kansas City, Kevin Wiles makes like a bunch of jokes about it. It's like, yeah, if you guys have any time, you got about $3. You can head down to the Kansas City Royal Stadium and go watch a baseball game. It's just
So
funny
this
to
is the
think
last
that.
year of the Connecticut Sun.
Yes,
So
this
maybe I'll
is
go see
last
a
year.
Connecticut Sun game this year too,
You
because
should.
I've been saying that forever.
You should go. So you should go see. Maybe watch the Wings, watch the Fever, watch the Aces, watch the Liberty. There's a lot of really good teams that would be fun to watch. So
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. I might do that. I very well might do that this summer along with a baseball game.
yeah.
Keen, last NBA team I want to talk about briefly before we
Yep.
get out of here. And I almost don't even want to say their name because I don't want to jinx anything, but I've alluded to it throughout the year. The Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, why can't they win and get into the second round? I mean, Joel's playing
Second
well right
round,
now.
absolutely. I mean, right now with how the Knicks are looking, they could beat the Knicks. With this Paul George,
Percocet P is going to play like this. Perk P is like, this is like fucking Oklahoma City Thunder last year in OKC, Paul George right here. Like you get that with Embiid, who is showing up. I can't imagine he'd be able to make it 2 months in the playoffs. But if you get one good round out of Embiid and the way Paul George has been playing and the way Maxi's played all year, and you got, this is what people forget too. You got Nick Nurse as a coach.
yeah.
He's not like one of these coaches who just like, he makes real adjustments. He will try to win. He will go deep into his bench. I'm sure these players wish they had Jared McCain on the team, but they're still deep enough to where they can beat anybody. And I do mean anybody in the East. So
Yeah, 100%.
I'm very interested if they could at least get past round one, whether they get up to the 6, whether they stay in the play-in spot, wherever they go. I think they can even get up to the 5. I don't think they're that far out of the 5 either. I am not ruling them out at all in a wide open East. This is something we thought was going to be a weak East. It is not a weak East. It is a wide open East, though. The Celtics might have something to say about that, though. Shouts to them.
I also want to shout out real quick the Pistons, because they might be, if Cade comes back and can be 100%, which I don't know how alpha collapsed lung that works. So I'm a novice when it comes to collapsed lung information. But if he can come back and be 100%, the Pistons have been playing really good since he's been out. Like they just beat the Sixers today. Obviously the Sixers didn't have Embiid, but like they just beat the Sixers just barely, and they beat them by 23. Like this wasn't a close game. Jenkins had 16 and 14. I think this could also be a little bit of a blessing in disguise for them if Cade comes back 100%. Because they found offense without Cade. And obviously Cade was generating the most offense for his team in the league when it comes to a percent by percent base. So like they're able to actually find ways to score, get the actual ball penetration, pass the ball, and get like guard help without Cade. So if that's the case, that might actually bode better for them. Obviously, all of this is dependent on how good Cade is when he comes back. But I think the Sixers are going to stay the 6, and I think the Knicks are going to stay the 3, which for the Sixers, I believe, is the best matchup for them. Out of all those teams, I think the Knicks is the one that they can give problems to, because it's going to be a tough series. If I was the Sixers, I'd love to sneak up to the 5, even though you got to play a Cleveland team that I have a little bit more faith in as of right now. You avoid Boston until the conference finals, obviously, if Boston gets there. But
yeah, you don't want to see Boston or Cleveland in the first round if you're Philly.
Yeah,
if there was a way that they could get the Raptors, which I don't believe there is unless they both moved up to 4 and 5. That's not going to happen.
No, the Raptors right now the Sixers and the Raptors are fighting to make sure they stay out of the play-in. So the Sixers need to win to make sure they stay out of the play-in. because if they get into the play-in, then they're playing Boston or Detroit. Which in that case, you would probably hope it's to be Detroit because Cade's then at his. If Cade's back, you play Cade when he hasn't played basketball in a month.
And then you got Atlanta in there, who
And
might stay the 5, and who knows? They could drop back to the play, and I wouldn't be surprised. But they're playing well
yeah,
nonetheless, and I'm
yep,
excited about their future. Um,
yeah. It's hard not to be excited about that future there. I mean, Jalen Johnson's an All NBA player this year.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Keaton, before we get out of here,
Yep.
my last question: did you listen to the Kanye West album?
I started to listen to some of it, but I haven't listened to it in full. No.
Oh, so you have no review for us at this point.
I don't have a review for it. I did like the intro, and then I liked this. I liked the instrumental to the second song, but I don't have a review for the Kanye West album as of right now. What going into it? I think you said it was not bad. If I remember the message you said, how do you like it?
It's a good album.
Good.
It's a really good album. We talked about this on Is the Hype Real on Thursday.
Hmm.
Shouts to Is the Hype Real guys. Congrats to Ray on the birth of his
Yeah.
baby. Um, we talked about it Thursday. We all basically agreed like it's a good album. We like it, and a lot of people in the comments were trashing it, and we all kind of came to the same conclusion that it's like because it's not even that experimental. Like Vultures, the 2 Vultures albums with Ty Dolla are pretty experimental, and I can understand why the listener would be like, "Ah, this is trash." And it was also during Kanye being like insane to say the
Yeah.
least, right? But ultimately, was there good music in there? Yeah, there absolutely was. Like it wasn't even it was less experimental than Yeezus to me, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
Besides the point, because we're not talking about Vultures, but I thought those were underrated projects. This is not experimental, and he's like rapping pretty good on there. It's overall a good album. Now, if you're looking, we've said this about many artists before. If you're looking for college dropout, if you're looking for graduation, no, it's it's not that. But is it a good album? And is it definitely a good
Comparable
album?
to Donda, maybe. Like not
Yeah.
trying to say like, but comparable like in that kind of style.
Donda's hard to say because that was very much like Life of Pablo to me, where he got so many artists on there and
No.
it's all good music.
Yep.
And in that case it was censored. So that it had
Yeah.
that weird aspect to it. Um this is a lot less tracks, and Donda was like what 24 tracks or some crazy shit like that.
Yeah.
It's really hard to even like quantify Donda. Whereas this is like I think it's 15
Donda felt like
tracks.
more life, or like for Drake, or it's just
Yeah.
kind of like a playlist of
Even more
song. Like,
ridiculous than that because there was like
yeah,
6-minute songs on there and like it was a lot. It was a lot,
yeah,
but it was good music.
yeah.
And I had that whatever year that came out, I had that as my album of the year cuz
21, 20 or 21. I think it was 20.
I had it as my album of the year cuz I thought it was like an amazingly done project, but it probably wasn't my favorite project at all. Like I
Mhm.
definitely don't ever listen to Donda, but it was probably the most well done project I heard that year.
It's
Um
21. It was like because it came out in August of 21 because it came out before I left for to go to
mhm,
Florida because
mhm.
we did the pod for it. Shout out Grandpa Bob. We did it in the camp upstairs.
I remember that. I remember doing
Yes,
that
so
and I think we did one for CLB up there too. Yeah,
CLB up
because they
there,
dropped the
yeah.
same
So
weekend actually. They
yeah,
dropped
they
the s
dropped the same. So it was in August of 21, and because I left early September, I believe it was August of 21. Both of those dropped.
um, so yeah, you can't really compare it to that. It's just a good album. It's a good s
Yep.
in my opinion, it's a good solid listen. You won't be mad at it. Um, yeah, I think if you go into it with open ears, you'd be like, "Oh, this is a good album." I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, "Okay, he wasn't like saying anything attention grabbing. It was just good solid music." He's got a song with Travis on there. He's got a song
Mhm.
with Don Toliver on there. Um Noted Kanye listeners. Like he dropped this album on streaming actually a year ago. I think he took some stuff off. I don't really know because I didn't really listen to it when it came out because it was kind of known that it was like heavily AI at that point.
Yeah.
Now it's not. Now it's just a good album.
Okay.
Raja, our cousin Raja, who's a big Kanye fan, he believes that Travis Scott and Kanye have a collaboration album coming, and I can kind of see it. And
Hmm.
Kanye was someone who's not performing in the USA at all. Like at the last 2 years, like pretty much been banished from the USA, and he just played, I think, back to back nights in LA. So I strongly, and he's got a 3-night London residency booked in the summer. So I think it's
Yeah.
going to be a comeback year for Kanye. I really do. I think you're going to see him being more and more welcome back into the hip hop fold.
I'll
Yeah,
have to ask I'll have to ask Andrew what he thinks about it too. Shout out Andrew Franklin, but
shouts to Andrew
Kanye's
Franklin. We got to get Andrew on here. We got
yeah,
to get Andrew back on here. It's been
Kanye's
a
his
time.
guy.
I do.
Kanye's his guy. So
I'm gonna message Andrew right now about it actually because I do want to
just so
hear
you
his
remember.
thoughts.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what he thinks about it.
Any music takeaways before we get out of here? Anything that's catching your eye or ear as of right now?
Right now, no. I haven't listened to much new since J. Cole, but I know there's been things that have came out since that. But I haven't listened to much new since J. Cole. Honestly, I go through these weird phases of listening to like older music, and T.I. was the guy who I decided to dive more into T.I. and just listen. So
What
I've been
What about Ti have you been listening to? What projects? What songs?
So I listened. I was talking at work. A few songs I downloaded. Are full of urban legend trap music, and then Ti versus Tip. I've kind of just been like
Pretty
diving
good album.
through, just listening to those, and then for some reason the other artists that I randomly started to listen to a little bit more again. Forgot B.O.B. was a I forgot, but old Bob was an artist at one point in time.
I
So
really like
I
his
just
debut album.
yeah
I listened to that when
so
it
I
came out.
yeah the B.O.B. presents the Adventures of Bobby Ray. So that one had its hits on it, but also had some other songs on it too. And then I was listening to Strange Clouds as well. So
It's crazy because he was such a versatile artist,
yeah,
and like that was his peak. Like that debut album, like he was pretty popular. And
yeah,
then he had a few songs in the early 2010s. Like he still had a buzz. He's an artist that would have thrived in the climate that we had in the mid 2010s and even now. And he just kind of
hmm
like, I think he completely stopped making music. Like I haven't heard from
yeah.
B.O.B. in over 10
I guess
years. And he would
I was
thrive.
surprised because I saw some like different things that he had out, but I've never seen like even in like the Apple Music, like a songs, like he just dropped this, dropped that. Like I hadn't seen anything. But yeah,
He's
Strange Clouds was kind of like 2012. The song Strange Clouds was actually his biggest one. That or Both of Us with Taylor Swift, randomly. But Strange Clouds, that was one with Lil Wayne on it. So
I vaguely remember that. I vaguely
all
remember
I
that.
see is strange clouds.
I do vaguely remember that. I honestly can't, because he's someone who would have worked on features too. Like he can sing a little bit. He's obviously got, pop appeal to him because he plays guitar and shit like that. Like I'm
Yep.
shocked he
Oh,
never
shout out to
popped
play
up.
the guitar. That with Andre 3000 was an underrated
Yeah,
Andre
he used to
3000
be
verse. I love
he
that
used to be
verse.
compared to Andre when he was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
When he was coming out. Uh,
Yeah.
hey, look,
Yeah.
we got the second game of the Final Four on. I know you want to watch that.
Yeah.
I got to get a little grub here too. Listen, this was the Warner Brothers podcast. This was Kyle and Keenan. We will be back this week. Probably talk a little more music. Definitely talk a little more NBA because I've got even more thoughts to dive
Same.
into. And depending on the guests, who knows how that show could go. Depending on the guests, we'll see how creative we get. But I think you'll love it. And then guess what? 2 weeks from now, NBA playoffs, and that will heavily consume this podcast for 2 months. And boy, I cannot.
Can't wait.
I cannot wait. Thank you for listening. Keep commenting on all our shit. We love the interaction. We might have to get a mailbag podcast here, either before or after the playoffs. We'll see what it is.
Might be a summer thing.
Might be a summer thing. It might be a perfect summer thing, actually.
Might be a perfect summer thing.
We're giving away the sauce too much right here. We're out of here. Everyone be safe. Peace.